Hello, everyone. I know we are starting a bit late today. Hello, everyone. I know we are starting a bit late today. I'm so sorry. Today has been crazy. I've had back-to-back pressures that I could not even create the link. I just created the link for this live session some minutes ago. Yeah. So let me apologize first. Yeah, thank you, Fonime. Thank you for joining. We have a lot of people who have joined. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you are part of this session. I'm so sorry we are starting 10 minutes late. I had some pressures, a lot of some people are having lots of issues, and this immigration work, I won't lie to you, is not easy. But we just have to keep pushing, right? We just have to keep pushing. So yeah, I look stressed. Yes, today has been crazy. Like today has just been crazy. Like back to back issues that you're trying to resolve. But what do? We do not have any choice. We have to keep pushing. And that's the reason why what do you call it now? Um we are here so that people do not have issues. The purpose of my YouTube channel is to let people know the things they should do correctly so that they don't have issues at the end of the day. Sadly, a lot of people are having issues. Like, at some point, I was thinking maybe I should even do a book, create a book to let people know the do's and don'ts, right? It's just maybe not that create. I've started it, but because there's no time to complete it, I've not been able to put it together because um when I hold consultations, a lot of people have issues, serious issues. And I feel that these issues are because of lack of proper knowledge, lack of proper knowledge of the system, lack of proper knowledge of immigration rules, lack of proper knowledge, which is causing a lot of people to have issues. And I just wish that I can be consistent so that I can be talking about them. But at the same time, I'm thinking of either creating a small digital book so that people can get it and know how to protect themselves from these issues, right? Protect yourself from all the complex issues that might put you into trouble, issues that might even land people in prison, issues that so many issues that you can avoid just by knowing. A lot of people are ignorant, I would say. So that's why we have too many problems, too many issues, too many people having immigration issues. If they had known, like if they had the awareness, if they had the information, there were things they could have just simply avoided or simply done within a time frame to avoid those issues. So it's good that you guys are part of this session and we are talking about these things so that you can avoid the issues. And I mean, trust me, immigration issue is not something you want to get. I know that we are thinking of everybody's thinking of PR, but at the same time, having an immigration issue is the worst thing any person can have. Like going out of status, um, and not being able to work just because of a tiny mistake, right? Just a tiny mistake that if probably you had spoken to somebody or spoken to a professional, you would have gotten the information that would have averted that tiny mistake. So, yeah. So, thank you for joining me today. We'll be dissecting New Brunswick. Like I said, today is for New Brunswick. Although I put up the what do you call it now? The post late. I put everything. I put it late, but we can start talking about New Brunswick. And like I usually do, I tell you the background of New Brunswick and then the current status and then those living in New Brunswick what you should be expecting, how you should protect yourself, how you can prepare yourself so that you don't fall into mistakes. And I'm going to be giving, like I said, part of my work is having to deal with issues every day. So I'm going to be giving examples of people who have had issues, right? So you can you learn from those mistakes and start preparing yourself ahead of time so that you don't get caught up. Like you don't get caught up with what is going on, especially for those who are yet to arrive. If you are yet to arrive Canada, it's good that you're joining this session. If you're already in Canada, if you're already living in New Brunswick, please also be part of this session. You can invite your friends to join us while we discuss New Brunswick, studying and working in New Brunswick. Okay, so that being said, New Brunswick used to be the best province for immigration. I mentioned it yesterday. They had the best program for international students for immigration because as at some years ago during COVID, they had they don't have the population, or they didn't have the population. Even till now, the population of New Brunswick is still small. It's not as populated as it used to be. Prior to COVID, they were looking for people. And that was when they now put up the New Brunswick Student Connection Stream. The Student Connection Stream meant that if you studied in New Brunswick in a public college, in a public university, 3 months prior to the end of your program, you could apply for provincial nomination. I mean, there was no other province that had it this good apart from New Brunswick, where you have not even finished your studies, you're already applying for provincial nomination to get your PR, right? It was that good because they had all the slots, they were looking for people. So that program was there. And it was there until last year when they meet their cap. They meet their cap too early last year because when people now knew that there was student connection, people also knew that, oh, if you school in Ontario, you can just easily come to New Brunswick, work 6 months and apply for permanent provincial nomination, you get it. There were no restrictions to occupations. There were no restrictions. They had the AIP. The AIP stream is still there anyway. They have the AIP stream. They have the skilled worker stream for people who schooled anywhere in Canada and then moved down to New Brunswick to be able to get their what do you call it now, their provincial nomination. So it was that good until last year. A lot of people now moved to New Brunswick. A lot of temporary residents now moved to New Brunswick, and then they met their cap, right? They met their cap, and it was surprising because people thought that, of course, the immigration numbers will still be the same numbers until the slash. And when the slash happened, they met their cap, and they had some people that were still waiting for their provincial nomination. So some people spilled over from last year into this year. Now, some of the mistakes, I'm going to talk about the mistakes a lot of people made. Some people who schooled in New Brunswick, who would have applied for permanent residency through the student connection route, they were not aware, or they didn't know that they needed to be able to create their express entry profile, because the student connection route is tied to you having an express entry profile. So a lot of people had not evaluated their credentials. I had cases like that. They had not evaluated their credentials, and they only had the language results, right? So because they had not evaluated their credentials, they missed out on the student connection route when the cap was full. They missed out on it. And sadly, those group of people, they were working in occupations that, how will I call it now? Like I said before, New Brunswick, you could do it. You could be doing anything and you get your PR, anything at all. There was no occupation restriction. But they were now working in occupations that New Brunswick now deemed not to be in demand. Because of that, some people, they were almost losing their status because they were like, their work permit was almost expiring, and then there was no draw coming forth. So if you're here and you intend to come to Canada, come to New Brunswick to study, please go ahead and evaluate your credentials. Make sure that your credentials are evaluated. Now, if you want to go through the student connection route has been scrapped, right? So now they have the graduate route. They have the New Brunswick Express Entry graduate route. They also have the skilled worker graduate route. Now, for the skilled worker graduate route, you do not need your evaluated credential to apply for provincial nomination. You can use whatever you have. But for the New Brunswick graduate route, which is the express entry route, you need your evaluated credential. And then you also must have worked for 1 year before you are eligible. So for people who come to study a 1-year program like in New Brunswick Community College, they might not, there's a possibility of them being eligible for the the New Brunswick graduate route, but that is if they do a 2 years program and they have 3 years PGWP. But if they do a 1-year program, that means you should be targeting the New Brunswick skilled worker graduate New Brunswick skilled worker graduate route, not the express entry route. If you are targeting the express entry route, that means you should have at least 3 years postgraduate work permit. And if you were here yesterday, I mentioned that express entry applications are becoming very, very fast. They are approving express entry applications faster than provincial nomination applications. The processing timeline for express entry is actually about 6 months, 6 to 8 months, you get your PR. Then the processing timeline for provincial nomination, 24 months to 36 months. So while somebody who goes through express entry must have gotten their PR, you who is going through the provincial nomination route, it take you almost 2 years to get your PR, right? Depending on how fast you are. Sorry, please just give me some seconds. Let me quickly. Okay. So back to what I was saying. So if you're going through the provincial nomination route, it's going to take time. So for those of you coming for a 1-year program in New Brunswick, you're coming for a 1-year program in New Brunswick, I've given you the background that these pathways that were easy for people to get their nominations, the pathway, student connection is no more there. What you now have is the skilled worker graduate route. There's also the skilled worker route for those who did not school in New Brunswick to take advantage of. And then there's the New Brunswick skilled worker graduate route that you can take advantage of. Now, for that route, all you need is just a job offer in one of the occupations that have not been listed as not in demand, right? So, for instance, the listed administrative assistant as not in demand for this year. They also listed sales associate or sales representative as not in demand for this year. Just give me some seconds. Let me open it out so I can call all the occupations that are not listed so that people can be aware. So that when you come in, you are not saying because I just want to get a job and then quickly go and get a job that will not align for you. If you come in, get a job that you know will be able to help you get provincial nomination. One of my clients, she got a job that will not help her get provincial nomination. Luckily, she has 3 years PGWP. She got a job that will not help her get provincial nomination. And that job is a very fantastic job. She likes the job. In fact, that's one of the mistakes a lot of international students make. And I've seen this thing over and over and over again. A lot of people some of them, they love their job, but their job will not give them PR. And they are not willing to do any other thing besides that job. Right? There are a lot of people like that. A lot of people, they get fantastic jobs, paying them very well. Some as much as $40 per hour, some as much as, if I say $50, that's too much anyway, $40 per hour, right? And sadly, such jobs, there are some of these jobs that will not help you get PR. We had to analyze the job. We analyzed the job description. We analyzed everything, analyzed the knock code. It was not going to allow her get provincial nomination, right? It will not allow her. So she had to look for something else that will allow her get provincial nomination. So if you find yourself in the category of people that will come to New Brunswick, please avoid these jobs, accounting technician and bookkeepers. If you want to do it, especially if you're going to come for a 1-year program, I'm using the word now, if you're coming for a 1-year program, because if you come for a 1-year program, you're limited to a 1-year PGWP. At most, you will apply and you get 6 months grace where they give you 6 months interim authorization letter to work. Sometimes they can even approve your PGWP faster than your, what do you call it now? Faster than you were thinking, right? You were estimating that you have 6 months to get your PGWP. Plus that 6 months plus another 1 year is more like 1 year, 6 months. So you're estimating, oh, okay, you have 18 months to get your PR, right? You're already calculating that you have 18 months to get your PR. Now, if you have that 18 months to get your PR, please be careful. Do not do jobs that will not give you PR. If you're in a job, if you're doing a job, or if you get a job offer within that 18 months that will not give you PR, please move out. If you're with an employer that will not endorse you, another thing is you must have an employer to endorse you. Your employer must endorse you. Your employer must sign up for you. The only option where your employer does not need to endorse you is the New Brunswick Express Entry route. And that New Brunswick Express Entry route, it means you must have worked in New Brunswick for 1 year. So, but if you have to do the New Brunswick graduate route or the New Brunswick skilled worker route, you will need your employer to endorse you. Your employer has to fill one particular form. So if you're going to avoid that form, you have you like look at your timeline. Do you have enough time to be able to get an invitation to apply or get a nomination for you to get an invitation to apply to the express entry pool? If not, then do a 2 years program so that you can be on the safe side. I'm particular about those who have done 1-year program because I have seen a lot of people, even though New Brunswick should have been easy to get PR, it's like a problem now for them to get PR. Most of them are out of status. So please avoid jobs that will not give you PR. They have listed it this year. I don't know whether they will add more occupations next year. Right? I don't know whether they'll add more occupations next year. Accounting technician, administrative assistant, shippers and receivers, retail, wholesale trade managers, restaurant and food service managers, retail sales supervisor, like a lot of jobs in the food sector, food service, cooks, bakers, retail sales, bartender, hotel front desk, right? Other customer service rep, food and beverage, food counter, fish and seafood plant, laborers in food and laborers in fish. These are the occupations that they have listed that are not eligible for the skilled worker route. So please, if you come in again and let's say you get a job offer in Costco, or you got a job offer in Superstore, or you get a job offer in Sobeys, all these places, they will not even endorse you in the first place. It's just a waste of your time. Now, if you want to really be strategic, to be very, very strategic in terms of how you can position yourself to get your PR as fast as possible. Number one, target AIP designated employers. AIP designated employers that can hire you. If you target AIP designated employers, you're giving yourself 2 options in one. 2 options in one in the sense that if the skilled worker route you're often giving yourself 3 options. If the skilled worker route graduate stream does not favor you, the AIP route will favor you. Either of the 2. Try to position yourself to get an offer of employment from a designated employer under the Atlantic Immigration Program. And that way, you are positioning yourself in such a way that with the job offer and your student experience, you do not need work experience. Like, you don't need to work a long period of time for you to apply. Your student experience under AIP counts for you, right? Your student experience under AIP counts for you. You can combine your student experience plus your current work experience, and then you apply for AIP. As long as you meet the requirements of AIP. So, and the requirement is actually getting an employer that is designated. That's number one. Number 2, you schooled in New Brunswick. For you to go through the graduate stream, that's the AIP graduate, because there's the AIP graduate stream and then there's the AIP normal stream. For the AIP graduate stream, you must have done at least a 2 years program to be eligible for that AIP graduate stream. And for that AIP graduate stream, you don't need to bother your head. You just get a job offer and you are good to go. Let the employer endorse you, right? For the skilled worker stream, you can combine your student experience. For the skilled worker stream AIP, you can combine your student experience plus your normal work experience, and then you get the endorsement. So that's what I would say you should do. That's the strategy I would say you should adopt. Target the designated employers. Do not wait till you finish your school. There was a lady that did that. Funny enough, her husband came as a student. They are one of our community members. All these people I'm talking about, they are our community members, whether they are watching this live video, so that they will not come and send me WhatsApp messages. Why did you talk about me? But I need to talk about it so that people can learn from people's experiences. They will not come out and tell you what's going on, but we hear these things almost every day, the issues we hear every day. I mean, it's enough for me to go and become a counselor, a counselor or a therapist, because the issues, there are too many. There are just too many. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Target AIP employers so that you can have. What do you do by endorsement? Does that mean company sponsorship? So the endorsement is that the employer is already designated by the government of New Brunswick to hire anybody that they want to hire. And then they now have to fill a form. They have to fill that form to endorse you, which you will submit to the government of New Brunswick to get your provincial endorsement for the AIP pathway, right? So that's just it. For you, if you schooled in New Brunswick, please, as you're schooling, your goal should be to target the AIP employers. I was about to say something concerning one of my clients. They didn't school in New Brunswick. The husband didn't school in New Brunswick. The husband schooled in Ontario. But they knew that Ontario would be difficult. So they quickly came to New Brunswick. And then she attended a career college in New Brunswick. From that career college, she targeted an AIP employer, an AIP designated employer as a student. Immediately, she started working. Although what she did was PSW. So she quickly targeted an AIP employer that hired her. And then she finished. Even in the process, she was pregnant. She went on maternity leave. So she didn't even have all the necessary requirements. But the fact that she targeted an AIP employer when she was attending her private career college in New Brunswick, that gave her an advantage, such that she already started working with them as a student. She already started working with them as a student. So naturally, they would consider her. And then after that, they gave her the endorsement with which she's applying for her, what do you call it now, her permanent residency. So please, if you come in as a student to New Brunswick, do not focus on, I know we Africans, we like to carry first class. We like to be the best in our classes. But if you're being the best in your class and you're not networking outside, you're not attending events, you're not reaching out to the employers that will hire you in the future, you're wasting your time, because at the end of the day, your first class is useless if you're not getting what would make you have your status, right? It's good to have first class. Me too, I aim for the best when I'm studying. I'm always reading, I aim for the best. But at the same time, your eyes should be outside. Your eyes should be outside to the designated employers. Target those people. Target them. If they don't have a job, establish your connection with them. Establish your connection with the recruiter, such that by the time you're finishing, they must have known your name. You might just be calling them to greet them every day, just to call them, oh, do you have any opportunity for me today? You know, speak in the Canadian accent. Please bear with me. Speak the Canadian accent, right? So please just give me some seconds. Let me just. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so when you are a student, be networking, be going out, look at the list of like the list of designated employers are always updated all the time under AIP. They're always updated, always updated all the time. Just keep looking, the one that aligns with you. Start building your network. As you immediately you land Canada as a student, start building your network of where you will get your job, where you know you will stay and get your nomination or endorsement. Don't wait until I know that it's not easy. It's not easy settling. You're coming to a new environment. You have to know the rules. You have to know where to get your social insurance number, where to shop, where to get like all those things are dragging you. And then if you came with children, your children have to be settled. You have to you have all these things dragging you, right? But the moment you have, let's say, done half of first semester, you should at least have a little bit of balance or a little bit of settlement. Then start targeting those AIP employers. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not coming here to tell you that it is easy to get the job. No. What I'm saying is start disturbing them, start calling them, start following up with them, start talking to them if there's any future opportunity. There's what we call future opportunity. Future job opportunities. Most companies, they create a bank of people that are submitting resumes for future opportunities. So start putting yourself in their faces so that they know you and all of that. And if you get the job, then that's it. You've already started as a student with a designated employer, such that by the time you're finishing, your endorsement is coming as fast as possible. Like the moment you finish, you submit your application to the government of New Brunswick for endorsement. Whenever they do the draw, whenever they are picking you. So, I'm saying all of these things because the slots are now fewer. And because the slots are now fewer, I'm telling you not to wait until you finish before you start looking for the job. Start targeting those employers that are designated under the Atlantic Immigration Pilot. Get a job offer from them while still a student. And then once you finish, you can then apply for endorsement and get your provincial nomination, or get your AIP endorsement and then apply for permanent residence. Okay, so that's the strategy I would say everyone should adopt, anybody coming to study in New Brunswick. Avoid employers or avoid jobs that will not take you anywhere. They are just waste of time. They are, what do you call it now? They don't really lead anywhere. Don't fall into the group of people that would say, oh, I love this job too much, I cannot leave it. Please, no job should be too difficult for you to leave, especially if the job is not leading you to your permanent site. Of course, your permanent site is your PR card. So if the job is not leading you to your permanent site, please dump the job and look for something else. Start looking for the one that will lead you to your permanent site. Okay, so let me start answering your questions. Today's session will be a little bit brief because I still have some back-to-back issues that are dragging me left, right, and center for me to attend to. Okay, so I will start with this question. Can it be a casual job? Yes, you can start the casual job as a student. You can start the casual job as a student. Yeah. Then the next question. Okay. What do you by endorsement by employer? Does that mean company sponsorship? Yes, company sponsorship. So I know this question is probably for someone from the UK. UK, they use company sponsorship, but Canada we use endorsement. Endorsement in the sense that the employers have been selected by the government of not that they have been selected, like any employer can apply for endorsement. You apply to be designated, you go through the training process. Once your organization goes through the training process, then they publish your name as part of the organizations that will now fall under the Atlantic Immigration Program to endorse people. Yeah, so that's what it means. Okay, elaborate on the part for those who didn't school in New Brunswick. So for those who didn't school in New Brunswick, the option is, there are two options. I think there are more than two options. Just hold on. There are, so you have the, what do you call it now? You have the skilled worker stream. That's New Brunswick experience, skilled worker, New Brunswick experience, skilled worker stream, which means if you schooled outside of New Brunswick, you come to you have a job offer in New Brunswick. All you need is just 6 months you must have lived and worked in New Brunswick for 6 months before you become eligible to apply for provincial nomination if you're going through the provincial nomination route. So you have the New Brunswick experience. That is for those who schooled outside of New Brunswick. A lot of people target those who schooled outside New Brunswick. They target both the New Brunswick experience plus the Atlantic Immigration Program. These are the two programs they target. And you can target them again. I don't know whether I mentioned it yesterday, but I can still repeat myself again today. You can target the New Brunswick experience if you are working in a job that, again, is not listed as one of the jobs that are not eligible. That's number one. After 6 months of working, you submit your expression of interest or through the IMB portal. And then when they do a draw, they send you a letter of invitation to apply. You submit your application for permanent residence. For provincial nomination, you get provincial nomination, you apply for permanent residence. So that's option one. Option two is the Atlantic Immigration Program, which again, your employer has to be a designated employer under AIP. Now, for you to qualify for under AIP, you're not the same with those who schooled in New Brunswick, because those who schooled in New Brunswick, especially if they did a 2 years program or a 16 month, because the requirement is a 16 months program and above. Those who did a 16 months program, they are eligible to apply for endorsement immediately. All they need is just a job offer, and that's it. But if you schooled outside New Brunswick and you want to take advantage of the Atlantic Immigration Program, you cannot be part of the people that will do the AIP graduate stream. You will do the normal AIP stream, which means you have to show proof of 1 year work experience from your, let's say, previous location or country of residence for you to apply for that AIP route. You cannot use a 6 months work experience to apply for AIP. Those who schooled in New Brunswick are allowed to use their study experience plus if they just recently graduated to apply for AIP, right? Those who schooled in New Brunswick did 16 months program, they can go through the Atlantic Immigration Program graduate route. But if you schooled outside New Brunswick, you must have had 1 year work experience first for you to be eligible for AIP. If you don't have 1 year work experience in the same knock code that your employer will use to endorse you. So let me give you an example. Let's say you were a banker in Nigeria, right? You were a banker, you schooled in Toronto, you did a 1 year program in Toronto, you've heard that New Brunswick is easy to get PR. You come to New Brunswick, you get a job offer from an AIP designated employer. Then for you to apply for endorsement, you must show evidence that you have 1 year prior work experience in the same knock code. So, like I said, you said you're a banker. The job offer you must get must be banking in New Brunswick. If you get any other job offer as, let's say, an administrative assistant, that means you do not qualify for AIP because the knock codes are not the same. The knock code that you must get a job offer from you must have at least had 1 year work experience in it. If you have not had 1 year work experience as an administrative assistant, you were working as a banker all your life, it means you need to work for 1 year first before you become eligible for that AIP pathway. So I don't know whether this explanation is clear. I hope it is clear. So those are the options for those who schooled outside New Brunswick. And then we also have the FCIP, Acadian. I think there's one community that is under the Francophone community. So if you have French language skills, one of the New Brunswick communities, French communities, was selected under the FCIP program as well. Okay. So next question. Can one get into express entry without masters, but with over 5 years of work experience? It is subject to your age. You can create an express entry profile with only your bachelor's degree or only your, what do you call it now? Only your PGD. If you have PGD, you can create your express entry profile. But again, depends on your language scores. Your language scores must be above 6. Okay, so I'll move on to the next. Do we have healthcare jobs among this? Yes, there are lots of them. There are lots of healthcare employers under the designated employers list for AIP. There are lots of them. Can my husband who came with me also target AIP employer too? This is a fantastic question. Thank you for asking this question. And I'm gonna say something. A lot of people come into Canada with their spouses, and I find it odd that instead of their spouse to target how to get the PR as fast as possible before the main person who came in as a student graduates, I see that they don't really even bother. It is when things are now getting out of hand, that's when they start running helter-skelter. And I see that as a very, very bad strategy. You shouldn't be coming into Canada with your spouse, and then your spouse is not actively making efforts to get PR on your family's behalf. I don't know. It's like a lot of people like to pay international tuition fees. There's plenty money, right? So please, I'm going to put up this question again. Yes, your husband should target AIP employers, because if your husband targets AIP employers, he will be able to get the PR for your family on time, especially if he's doing a job or if he already has a prior 1 year work experience and he gets the same job in Canada. Let's say he was an administrative officer in Nigeria. He came with you to New Brunswick. You're studying. Your husband now gets a job offer from an AIP employer, right? And gets an administrative officer job offer from an AIP employer. Your husband can apply for endorsement immediately without that requirement of living or whatever, or study. Yeah, he can apply for endorsement immediately and apply for PR while you are still a student. This is the strategy a lot of people are supposed to adopt, but I just, I just see that a lot of people are not, they come and they don't really target the things that will give the family PR. They are waiting for the students to finish, thinking that, okay, once the student finish, the student will now get enough points, maybe for express end. That is a very wrong strategy. If you're coming with your spouse, please share this video to people. If you're coming with your spouse, make sure that both of you are ready. Each person should be ready. At least one person should be able to get the PR for the family, while the other person that is a student is still a student. So both of you should not come and be relying on the students to finish first before you get PR. That's a very bad strategy. If you're coming with your wife, you're coming with your husband, both of you should be ready to get PR. Both of you should be PR ready. Once you come, target whoever you're supposed to target, get the PR before the person who is a student even completes their education. That's the best strategy. That's the best way to do things. Not, waiting for the student to finish. Please. So please share this information with people. I see this a lot and I just shake my head. I'm like, so what's the purpose of coming? Yes, you want to be with your family, but if you come and you're not actively pursuing PR for your family, on your family's behalf, and leaving that PR for one person, you might be shooting yourself in the foot. This we are in an era where it is now extremely difficult to get PR. So you have to be prepared. Both parties, both spouses should be prepared. At least both spouses should be ready to get PR. All right, so I'll move on to the next question. Please, can it be a casual position? Of course, if you're working as a student, it has to be part-time, right? It has to be part-time. But once you want to apply for endorsement, your employer must give you a full-time job offer. Again, another thing is, one thing is getting an employment offer from an AIP employer. Another thing is making sure that the employment is a full-time offer. It has to be a full-time offer. If it's a part-time offer, it's a problem. So try as much as you can get a part-time offer when you're a student, right? Because you can't work more than 24 hours per week. But the moment you finish your studies, request for a full-time job offer, because that is what you will use to apply to get your endorsement. Okay. SOWP of a master student apply for PR using a 2-month certificate on. I'm trying to understand your question. Apply for PR. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to understand your question. Your question is not clear to me. It's not clear. Okay. On those people that out of Canada want to come through work routes. Through work routes, RCIP, AIP, search for jobs. If you want to come through the work route, search for jobs. That's just it. You search for jobs in the RCIP communities. Again, RCIP employers, they are not hiring. I will not come here and start telling you or start sugarcoating things, but I will tell you, you can go ahead and try. You can go ahead and try, but RCIP employers, they already have the candidates they want, except your job is like your profession is unique and you have a very high skill that they are looking for that no other person has, then yes, you have a chance of coming in through the work route. There are various work routes, like the work routes that are tied to PRO are RCIP and AIP. The work routes that are not tied to PRO, we have the Global Talent Stream, we have the LMIA, we have the LMIA exempt. These three categories, you can use either of them. So it's either you do the one that has a PRO pathway tied to it, or you do the one that does not have a PRO pathway tied to it, and then when you come, you try to figure out how you can get your PR. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. No, full-time. I think I've already answered this question. It has to be full-time job offer. You can do part-time when you're a student, but the moment you finish your program, please request for a full-time job offer. Okay. 616 work permit. Working in towns and cities that are not this. Yes, it can be used in anywhere in Canada. There's no restriction. But it should be good if you get it under an FCIP community so that you can apply for PR. If you get a for those who don't know what 616 is, 616 is the Francophone Mobility Program, which allows people to, if people who have a CLB5 in French, in any of the French language exams, to apply for, and they get a job offer, they can apply for an LMIA exempt work permit. So you can apply for LMIA exempt work permit for any employer anywhere. But if you have an employer that is under the FCIP community, that means you're applying for PR as well. Okay. So let me just answer this. Availability of jobs in MD cities. Which of the campus will you suggest? I chose for PSL program in New Brunswick of Fredericton Mount. I won't like let me tell you the truth there. I'll tell you the truth. Since I came to New Brunswick, I've not gone outside though. Please forgive me. Since I came to New Brunswick, I've not, like, how will I put it now? Have not really done an extensive exploration. Yes, extensive exploration the way I did in Manitoba. Again, I mentioned yesterday that, yeah, was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday. I mentioned yesterday that I don't know whether I'm outgrowing certain things. Before I'm this outdoor, I can go out. I want to explore. I want to know everywhere. I want to know all the nook and crannies. Like I I am that kind of person that you will not like. I know the nook and crannies of places. Anywhere I go to, I try to know the nook and crannies of places. I try to know what is going on in my environment. But since I came to New Brunswick, it has been a different thing entirely. I don't know whether it's because of age that I'm just thinking, I don't know, like I've not explored at all. So if you ask me where are the jobs, right? You ask me where are the jobs, where are the PSW jobs? If you choose a PSW program in New Brunswick Community College, Fredericton, Moncton, St. John, or Miramichi, where are the jobs? The jobs are everywhere as long as it is PSW. Now, for Moncton, Moncton is a growing city. Fredericton is the capital of New Brunswick. But we find that Moncton is actually, the population of Moncton is growing faster than Fredericton, right? For Miramichi, I've not even been there before, so I cannot really say, but I know I've been to Moncton. I was in St. John this weekend, a day before my birthday. We went to St. John, right? If you ask me of the jobs, PSW jobs, there are PSW jobs. It might not be in the major cities. You might have them in the pockets of all those small, they have all these, their homes and all of that surrounded. So yes, there are jobs, there are PSW jobs. But if you ask me which city has more jobs than which one, I cannot tell you because I've not really done my exploration completely. But government jobs, find them more in Fredericton because I mean this is the city, the capital city, so you have more of government jobs. But it's spread across. It's spread across everywhere. Okay. Yes, your spouse can target AIP employers. Yes, your spouse can target AIP employers. If your spouse is not eligible for SOWP, your spouse should be targeting AIP employers. I also did not even mention the critical worker programs. The critical worker program is also part of the what do you call it now? The immigration pathways that people who did not study in New Brunswick can target. So there are three options. We have the New Brunswick experience, we have the AIP, and then we have the critical worker pilot. Now, for the critical worker pilot, there are 6 designated employers, and those 6 designated employers, the moment they give you a full-time job offer, you are applying for provisional endorsement or provisional nomination immediately. So if you studied outside New Brunswick, you should also target them. I mentioned it some days ago that one of my former colleagues, he got an offer as a student from one of those employers, from one of those critical worker employers. And even one of our committee members also mentioned it in the comment section that day, that he was able to get his nomination from one of those designated employers. So yeah, if you're outside New Brunswick, target those employers as well. And you do not need to live in New Brunswick for you to get endorsement. They will endorse you immediately. Okay. So, can people outside of Canada still apply for AIP, or is it only for persons currently in Canada? Everybody can apply. If you have an employer that is a designated employer in any of the Atlantic provinces that is willing to hire you, please. If you're outside Canada, fine. There is no issue. People outside Canada are still getting, they are still getting job offers, depends on your skills. If it is the general skill that everybody has, right? Everybody has PS. There are too many PS. For me, I feel that there are already too many PSWs, but according to the government, they are not enough. A lot of people are entering the profession and a lot of people are leaving the profession at the same time because of the burnout. And some people don't really like it. They just do it because, I mean, this is what will pay the bills for now, or this is what will help me get PR. So if this is what will help me get PR, let me just get PR and move on with my life. That's why there is demand for PSW, right? But if you're doing a very high skilled job, very high skilled, that you know that, let me give an example. If you're a pilot, let's say you're a pilot, right? Pilots is a high skilled job. They are looking for pilots. If you get an offer of employment as a pilot, then you can apply under the AIP, especially if the employer is designated. Okay. I did not add my siblings to my previous application. Can I add them to my PR application? Okay, so the question is why did you not add them to your previous application? I need to know why for me to say yes, you can add them for your PR, because you have to have a justifiable reason. If you're adding them to your PR, then you now start to explain why you didn't add them in your initial applications, right? You have to explain why you didn't add them in your initial applications. Okay. Trade skills in NB, specific pathway, trade skills. Trade skills still falls under either of the pathways that have been listed. New Brunswick experience, New Brunswick graduates, New Brunswick priority occupations. I didn't even mention New Brunswick priority occupations. So for New Brunswick priority occupations, they selected trades, construction, and healthcare as priority occupations. And for those occupations, they are planning to do recruitment events for that. Please, if you saw the Newfoundland and Labrador recruitment events that I put on the community tab, please say hello in the comments so that I know if you've seen it or not. In that same community tab, I also put New Brunswick recruitment event as well. So there's New Brunswick recruitment event. There's also Newfoundland and Labrador recruitment event. And New Brunswick recruitment event, there's the option for a lot of people, even from outside Canada and people inside Canada, to take advantage of, where you get an offer of employment. With that, you're able to apply for provincial nomination. So if you're in Canada, please just watch out on those links. Some of them are not yet opened. I know why they are doing it like that, especially some of them in September, October. They are doing it like that because there will be too many people rushing to register, especially if people know. So just keep your eyes on those recruitment dates, or just keep your eyes on the websites. Just be checking when they will open. I wish I can be checking, but I don't have the time because I have a lot of things that I'm doing at the same time. So be checking those recruitment events. For those in the UK, this is your chance of meeting an employer that can hire you, and with that, you get a provincial nomination. For those in Canada, you also have the chance of meeting an employer that can hire you. With that, you get provincial nomination. So please don't joke with New Brunswick recruitment event and Newfoundland and Labrador recruitment events. Yes, it's not easy for people to get PR, but they still have these recruitment events that they want to do because they still want to hire more people. And if you check, a lot of people are under the healthcare, then there's transportation, and then there's construction as well, or trades. So for the question that was asked for trade skill falls under the New Brunswick priority occupations. And for New Brunswick priority occupations is part of what they want to do under the New Brunswick recruitment event. All right. Okay. Yeah. Uh, I don't know if I have any other question I want to answer here. Yes, for Lakemi, thank you. I will take time to rest tomorrow. It, honestly, I will take time to rest tomorrow. By God's grace, I will. I just had some pressures this today. That's why. If not, I won't be this stressed, but I'll take time to rest. Thank you. Okay. How do I prove my spouse has access? How do I prove my spouse has access to my account? Funds for EE POF when we are applying for PR, apart from a joint account, is the primary applicant I'm accompanying. Okay, so how do I prove my spouse has access to my account funds for EE POF? It doesn't matter. They don't check those things. If you don't have joint account, it doesn't matter. As long as you are an accompanying dependent in the application and you provide your account statement, it's fine. If you're combining your account statement with your spouse's account statement to meet your proof of funds requirements, it's just to write a letter that your spouse has unfettered access. There's no restriction to your account. Just write a letter in support of the proof of funds letter. That okay. So what you do is you do a summary of your funds, right? If you have 10 million in your account and then your spouse has 10 million in his account, just write a letter, create a table, put your husband's name, 10 million, put your wife's name, 10 million, total proof of funds available, 20 million. Both of you write, both of us have unfettered access to each other's accounts, and the purpose of these funds is for our immigration. Just a simple letter, put it on top of your, what do you call it now? It should be the first page on top of your proof of funds document, and you're good to go. You shouldn't have issues at all. Okay, so I think that's the last question I can take for today. I'm so sorry. You can see from my face that I'm so stressed. And the weather is very, very hot. It's like 35 degrees, 36 degrees today. I don't know, like so hot outside. And it's looking like we are in Kano State, maybe we are in Sokoto State. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so that's all I can take for now. Tomorrow, by God's grace, I should be well rested before our session. I'm so sorry if I didn't take your questions today. If I didn't take your questions today, please, I'm so sorry. Let's meet again tomorrow. Like I said, this is ongoing till the end of this month. And if you want a one-on-one, then you can book on the website. If you don't want to discuss your issues, or if you don't want to ask your questions in public, you just want a one-on-one strategy session, take advantage of the August special offer that I'm giving to my community members. I mean, this is my It's my birthday month, although my birthday has passed. I'm doing this special offer for everybody. 19 degrees in Manisnoba. Please, let's exchange weather. It's 35 degrees here. Manisnoba. My Manisnoba. I miss you guys. Oh. I will just book one weekend and come to Manitoba one of these days. UK is 37 degrees. Jesus. I don't know. Somebody will say it's like hellfire is leaking somewhere. It is well. Okay, so yeah, so Dele, I saw your email. Today has been busy. I've not been able to respond to emails. My assistant has been responding to some, but I will try to respond to emails by God's grace tomorrow. So please bear with me. Let's see tomorrow. By God's grace, we'll start early. I should be well rested before we start tomorrow's session. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys. Honestly, you guys give me energy. Forget, leave my tired face. Once I'm talking to you people, the energy is always there. Forget about that I am tired, but the moment I start talking to you guys, I have that energy to talk, and I can keep talking. All right, thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow evening. All right, bye.